Good morning. This is Grateful Ed. Hope you're having a fantastic day. It is a great day to be alive. A great day to be here. And I want to talk about the gang stalking and psychological operations by groups when you are targeted and you are on their list. Okay. Um, you know, I want to make these videos just to let people know that this is a real thing. Whether we like it or not, we are in a matrix, and I guess whether you know it or not, you're in the matrix. And if this helps you to realize that and break away from that, that's a great thing. And even if it helps one person to realize, because no one is exempt. No one really is exempt. And, if you're working on yourself and trying to better yourself, break away from things that you may have been involved with in the past and that you really don't want any part of anymore, you want to distance yourself, it can be difficult, very, very difficult, So I'm just saying that you can do it. Trust in yourself, trust in your gut, trust in your higher power. I believe in God. And I truly believe I would not be here making this video if God did not protect me, And there's just too many things that have happened all through my life. The other thing I wanted to say is it does also help me talk about these things and, try to articulate what's happened. And it reminds me of other things that may or may not be associated with all this gang stalking and group effort in order to take you down. Because make no mistake, they want to take your life, okay? They want to discredit you, they want to take your property, they want to steal your money, okay? They want to humiliate you and put you down. That's their goal, okay? Make no mistake about it. That's it. So whether they're just part of the low-level crew, part of the planning execution, no pun intended, execution of operations crew, okay, or part of this leadership, that's their goal, okay. And I understand not everybody is bad in these organizations, and a lot of the lower level folks don't know the evil as far as what's going on in the higher level. But make no mistake, that's the end goal, okay, in order to maintain their control over you and everyone else, especially if you may be a threat to their operations, okay. So anyway, my Air Force buddies, okay. I was under heavy attack, okay, and this one Air Force buddy, I'll call him a sponsor. I was talking about how lucky I was, to have the good friends back in the hometown, and also around the base as I moved back, moved back to the United States. So, there's lots of incidents there at the heights of my attack where I was getting gang stalked, drugs were administered, the hackers, illegal surveillance, the list goes on and on. One day we were at Starbucks, okay, and this is just another incident, okay. But there's so many incidences associated with this Air Force brother that, you can't ignore it. Okay. So, I ordered my stuff and we ordered our coffee or whatever it was. We ordered it together. Okay. The place was very crowded and it was right there in Mason. Okay. And to give credit where credit is due, we were out probably to get out and about and maybe go shopping or do something, right? But anyway, when we ordered our coffee, he got his coffee served, and I didn't. Okay. And, could have been a mistake, but at the height of your operations, at the height of everything, if you're in on this shit, you're planning everything in order to keep people off and piss them. What really set it off was after we left, okay, and we were leaving, there were people that were talking. They left Starbucks with us, and they were a little too close to comfort, okay, as far as their conversation and talking about, I believe it was prosecutions and divorces, okay. As far as the narrative was like perhaps something they were living through, but like I say, they were a little too close as far as keeping a distance from walking just down the street. If you're behind somebody or in front of them, you would keep a decent distance between you and them. And they were almost like they had got so close they were up in your ear running their narrative. So, I don't take these things for granted, okay? And as they add up and point the finger as, here you are, okay, playing both sides of the coin right now. You're trying to have shit both ways. Supporting the president, supporting the Air Force, supporting the Constitution, yet you're running this shit, you're running these operations. And quite frankly, you are a focal point when it comes to my life, okay? So, they'll do their best to keep you within that crab bowl, okay? At C-17, okay. There's TDY, okay. I don't talk about TDY. I was some jobs and some programs. You can get some really shitty locations, and then some jobs and programs. You get some really sweet ones, and for me, there was none sweeter than C-17, okay. And part of that was Edwards Air Force Base, okay. Because let's face it, that's probably not on the top of a lot of people's list, unless you got some family or friends or whatever, but that was like my first, I'll say they sent me out on a spy mission, and it was successful because I realized what they were doing. They were basically the flight test folks. I don't know if I've told this story. The flight test folks were going straight to the Boeing test contract that they had. Because somewhere in there they had provision, or I shouldn't say provision, they had documentation in the contract in order for them to order parts. So I guess that was their free ticket to go, do what they wanted and bypass base supply. So, that was part of the first trip. I uncovered that. And also introduction into the base supply there at Edwards. Really great people, but again, like every other AFMC, and I'd been through that too, where they were in the A-76 transition. So there was a lot of upheaval in their lives because a lot of people felt uncomfortable about losing their jobs, okay. But anyway, we were able to work it. Well, a big shout out for Jeremy, okay. And it was a successful trip. Was it a spy mission? Probably, but either way, it all turned out for the best. And there's lots of stories because I had a lot of trips to Edward. I made it a point to get to know the flight chiefs, crew chiefs, I should say, and, because they were the experts on the plane, I was. And they could help us a lot. I felt that they helped us tremendously as far as understanding about how to go about our business when it comes to supporting them. Okay, so that was one thing, and the other one was Mississippi. I got a There's a lot of tragedy right there in Mississippi right now, and my heart goes out to them because I spent a lot of time in Jackson, a lot of time for site activation, and a lot of time, these folks were, the chiefs down at Jackson were part of the program, I would say maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years out before their first aircraft delivered, because they were quite savvy in the fact that they wanted to get a good handle on what was going on. Because again, just like the A-76, when it came to Jackson, in my opinion, that their Air National Guard base, wings of the Deep South, I don't know if it's a control issue or what have you, right? But they wanted to know exactly what was going on. So I got my man here. Okay. Anyway, let me go on. Jackson. So, okay, let me try to put this in perspective. It kind of hit me the other day. Hold on. Okay. Let my man do his job. When I went to Jackson, okay, around about that time, okay, other people in the program, they had other things to do because they were going to England, okay, and they were working on, higher level deals because of their rank and their position within the SPO, which is all well and fine. I felt like, I was in my wheelhouse doing my thing, and they were off doing their thing, right? But these are the folks with the closed door meetings all the time. And I just wonder how our team lead felt about that, because here you got this contractor working for her, part of our team that spent a lot of time in those closed door meetings. Okay, that's a signal right there. But anyway, my point on this whole thing is, I got a little rambling, but the point on the whole thing is, well, they were jetting off to England. They sent me down to Mississippi, and when it comes to symbolism and these organizations, we'll send, I'm just saying that perhaps they look at it like, we'll send the low-level slaves down to the places where we will never ever go. Our feet will never touch that ground. Okay, because we're going off to England in order to set up a sweetheart deal. Now that I find out about it, I look at it as a different perspective, to where these planes were leased and not bought from the United States government by you. So anyway, when it comes to symbolism, perhaps I was looked at as a slave to them. And that's how we all are, whether we like it or not, when it comes to the Matrix and it comes to this caste system. Anyway, I'm going to continue on. And this is not as pleasant, I kind of like the Air Force stories. It brings back better times, but when it comes to my family and the Stubbs crime family, okay. So there was something that was bothering me for a while and for a long time, okay, and I couldn't put my arms around it. And it wasn't about the money in as much as it was about the principle, and how some parts of my family, my aunts and uncles, K. June and Ronnie, were actually treated. Okay. When it comes to this class system, and I'm better than you all, and what I say goes, that type. So, there were never any meetings, no any closed door meetings. If there were closed door meetings on these things, they were with their society and running their business, okay. Um, in with the community. So, I came home on emergency leave. It's a long, long story, but I came home on emergency leave because my mom was sick. And I think I told this story, but she was suffering with dementia in the early stages. And we could tell something was wrong when we were home on leave in Christmas, I think it was. Sometime in the 90s, probably 95, 96. Anyway, I think it was July, perhaps, June or July. The I was home on emergency leave, and I was having a conversation with my Aunt Faye, and the conversation went something like, okay, I found out she was talking shit up at the nursing home about everybody in the family, right? And, my point was, I didn't like the fact that you're talking about everybody behind their back, because you always talk about everybody behind their back and not to their face, right? So I was not happy about that. Okay, I was not happy about a lot of things. The way there was treatment, and the way that Aunt Faye tried to take over the whole fucking nursing home, basically, and go in there and run it. I guess she had the right to do that. But anyway, when it came to June, I was like, on the phone, I said, why are you putting our family's business out in the street, right? Because he was talking shit about June, and the answer was, June's a spoiled bitch. And just total disregard. And that really lit me up, because that sort of opened my eyes, to know what I was going through in the Philippines with my supervisor. No names. He's a criminal record pedophile. What I was going through there, and then mom and her Alzheimer, and then going through with Faye, coming home to this shit. I was like, that really opened my eyes, but it pissed me off. It didn't open my eyes enough to really know what was going on behind the scene, but it really pissed me off. Okay. And that was one of the main things. Okay. So the main things that made me realize, you really do, for some reason, you think you're so much better than everybody else. And you think you own all the property, you think you own all the antiques, you think you own everybody and everything, and what you say can manipulate these things. So, sometimes these journeys, you got to go through these things. And you got to stay true, and stay true to yourself. And, you got to fight, stand up for yourself, and, speak your voice, because it's a real deal. But anyway, there was part of that I rambled on and deviated from that story. But something was bothering me. I'm going to try to segue into this. Something was bothering me as far as the bonds go, okay? Because I had gotten some bonds for my Aunt Kay, all right? And when I was gone and I was sick and I was out of the loop, remember, there's no communication. Everything is closed door, hush hush. Things just happen, no reason, no rhyme or reason. Just like the program office, okay? You got a queen pin in there, and running things on dual agendas. One's for the Air Force and for the country, and the other one is for their own career and their own, who knows what's involved in this kind of corruption. Okay, it's the same thing with this self-appointed queen pin of our family. Okay. So with these bonds, what bothered me, the money, yeah, it did a little bit. I got to admit, it did. But it was the principle of trying to go in and, run this shit on people. Because when my Aunt Kay died, okay, those bonds were cashed, and there was no peep, no courtesy call, no, hey, there was no thought of sharing shit, okay, or trying to be, uh, fair about how you would go about these things, at a death. And I go back to a conversation with my friend Jeanette, from Long Beach, that you really you do see people's true colors when there's a death in the family, and there's a struggle for resources when it comes to that. Okay, so when we met up, I guess it's 2 or 3 years ago, and try to clear the air on some of these family issues. It was I'd written a letter. Okay, I'd written a letter over to Department of Treasury to inquire about it, and their answer was it was a little bit of lukewarm, but it was plausible to the fact that if Miss So and So, if she had the power of attorney, okay, which Aunt Faye, she was zealous to get power of attorney on everybody. Okay, no, watch that shit. Whoever would have control over anybody in your funds, or your parents' funds, especially. Okay, and even if there is none, keep that in mind. Okay. Even if they had that power of attorney, they would be plausible for them to cash those bonds in. So, when it was brought up to me like some kind of badge of honor, hey, I contacted the Department of State because I was so concerned with you. I was like, okay, well, you contacted the Department of State, and I contacted the Department of Treasury because I had concerns of my own. Okay. And, on the back end of that, I don't think anybody in Hillary Clinton's Department of State will really give a rat's ass about me. Okay, being in a foreign country and going to do anything about it, right? So, I want to wrap this up and say that this gang stalking is for real. Okay, they're out to, you got to be careful and stand your ground. They're out to ridicule you, to put you down, to segregate you from the rest of the society and the groups. They're out to steal. Okay, they're out to kill. Okay, make no mistake about it. They want to take you out. They take your life. They want to steal everything. Steal your house, steal your bonds, steal your insurance. Okay, with that kind of fraud, who knows what's going on? They'll steal your Corningware. They'll steal your guitars. They'll steal your MREs. They'll steal your My Patriot Supply. Steal everything they can. If you're lucky, they'll leave a light in the light bulb. Okay, from my experience. So, anyway, that's all I got. I got a little rambly and a little long-winded on this, but it's true that these gang stalking needs to stop. The more awareness that we have about it, I think the better off everybody will be to break down these barriers, break down these organizations, break down the motivation for people to be that way and do these things. Because it's truly my belief that there are enough resources, God's resources in the world, for everybody to thrive, not just survive, to thrive. Okay. So I want to thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great day. God bless you. God bless America. And keep on keeping on.